Do you know the 14 traits of successful chiropractors? We've interviewed some of the top chiropractors in the industry and have identified the common traits that they all share. Jump on over to www.chirobusinessmojo.com to get your free report today.
Welcome to the Chiro Business Mojo podcast, where we deconstruct the methods, marketing, and mindset of successful business people and chiropractors from around the world. And now your host, Dr. Richard Day.
You found me. I am Dr. Richard Day, and this is the Chiro Business Mojo podcast. Hello once again, and thanks for spending a little bit of your day with me. Ever wanted to write a book, but don't know where to start? Do you have a lot to say? You want to get it out there to people? You've been thinking about writing a book, but you just haven't had a chance or the time to do it or to get it done? I'll tell you what, my guest today has a solution to that problem. Dr. Rob Hanopole attended the University of Maryland and Life College of Chiropractic in Georgia. He's also Manipulation Under Anesthesia certified through Texas Chiropractic College. Dr. Hanopole owns and operates Active Life Chiropractic and Wellness in Plantation, Florida, and he is the author of Just Say Yes to Chiropractic, your best choice to achieve optimal health and wellness naturally. Along with Dr. Gary Trupo, he started TotallyBookedPractice.com, a service to provide chiropractors and other practitioners with a system to add nationally published author to their title. Welcome, Dr. Rob Hanopole.
Well, thank you for having me tonight.
Well, thanks so much for spending some of your time with us today. We really appreciate it. I always like to start with why. So why did you become a chiropractor?
Okay, well, basically, I think as a lot of us chiropractors do, we usually have an experience, when we're younger or, going to a chiropractor or basically, we just have a lot of congruent, thoughts about healthcare. For myself, I knew it when I was 11 years old, when I was sitting in the back of my mother's car driving home from the pediatrician, and she said to me we were going to the pharmacy to go pick up some cough suppressant. And I said, why are we getting cough suppressant? She said, well, the doctor wants you to not cough. It means it's going to suppress it. It's going to put it down. And I said to her, well, why would we want to do that? Doesn't my body want to get rid of something? Isn't it trying to, trying to heal and get better? And so, I thought about that fairly recently and realized, wow, that was chiropractic, a real chiropractic way of thinking. So never really had the desire for healthcare or medicine, but chiropractic really always resonated with me. So when I was a teenager and went to a chiropractor for a back problem, and I used to read all the posters on the wall and see everything that he had available. Again, it just really, the whole philosophy really made a lot of sense to me and resonated with me because, I was just much more into, healing and getting better without drugs and surgery and treating, myself rather than treating the effect. So, it just made a lot of common sense, really what it was.
Well, how long have you been in practice?
Been in practice in Plantation, Florida for the past 21 years. And over that time span, branched out between a partner and myself. We've had over 11 practices in multiple states, but my Plantation area office has always been my mainstay. That's always been my home.
Well, I want to shift and talk about what you guys are working on right now. It caught my attention. I think it's a great thing. Why don't you, in a nutshell, go ahead and tell us about Totally Booked Practice?
Sure. Well, Totally Booked Practice really arose out of a need. And, I practice in an area in Plantation, Florida that you're going to hit the floor when you hear this, but basically within a 1-mile radius of the practice, there's approximately 100 chiropractors.
You got to be kidding. Wow.
I'm not kidding. Now, that's not 100 chiropractic offices per se, but 100 chiropractors. That means, there may be a few chiropractors in an office, independent contractors, associates, things like that. But that's an unbelievable amount of competition, somebody would say. So, coming from a background prior to chiropractic school, I was actually in the field of marketing and management consulting. And I really had to put on that marketing consulting, hat and say, well, how do I differentiate myself, stand out from the crowd? How do we distinguish what we're doing? Because we're going to get swallowed up by really being seen as a commodity. And, what I realized was that, if you're a nationally published author and you have a book, you're automatically perceived as an expert and an authority, and you have a lot of credibility. So, what we did for myself, my practice was, put a book together and really saw how it just changed perception and tried a lot of different techniques and strategies with the book and saw, what works and what doesn't work and really perfected that. And really, thought about it and said, wow, if this works for my practice and we're really getting the word out there in the community, this could really be a movement or a game changer, for the profession, because so many people, in our global population don't even know what chiropractors do. Many people have a, misinformed perception of what chiropractors do. So I got together with a great friend of mine that I went to chiropractic school with, Gary Trupo, and he had a practice in another area. And Gary and I decided to form our company called Totally Booked Practice, which we are I would say a new patient marketing company for chiropractors, not to be confused with a book publishing company. We utilize the creation of a book to really educate the local community on chiropractic. And there's a much greater, passion and purpose to what we're doing, being chiropractors, which is, we know if we had thousands of chiropractors throughout the world, and we have clients right now in Dubai and multiple other countries, but if we had thousands of chiropractors all over the world getting their books with their philosophies and their thoughts and their techniques and their strategies on healthcare out to their communities, we would really cause a major shift in how people think, because books are so powerful. And when you have a book, you're perceived as the most credible, expert authority on the subject. So it's really grown into something a lot bigger than, a book and a practice.
Well, you mentioned that it's a game changer, and I can really see the value in educating the public in what it is that we do, especially if, a lot of us are writing books and educating people within our communities. In what other ways is it changing the game? What doors is it opening?
Having a book can get you into places that you couldn't get into before. We have doctors that are getting on TV, doctors that are getting on radio and having, weekly and daily, radio shows, get you into talks and seminars, medical referrals, attorney referrals. Having a book, again, just changes somebody's perception of you. I like to say that, when you choose a professional, let's say, you want to choose a professional financial planner, who would you rather choose? Would you rather choose the average financial planner, or would you have more confidence in the financial planner that actually wrote the book on financial strategies? Or would you rather choose, an average lawyer or the attorney that wrote the book on the specialty of law that you're looking for? And the same thing that goes, with what we do as chiropractors. Would you rather, just choose the average one of 100 chiropractors down the street, or would you choose the chiropractor that wrote the book? Having a book greatly enhances the way people look at you and opens a tremendous amount of doors. And it's really, what we call it. We came up with this name because this is really what happens, and we call it the celebrity effect. And what it does is it really turns you into a local celebrity. Our program is not to, make our doctors into New York Times bestsellers. That's not what we do. It's not about selling the books. Our program is to help chiropractors become the number one go-to chiropractic authority in town, attracting, massive amounts of new patients and getting into places that they couldn't get into before because, let's face it, there's still sometimes, we get stuck a little bit with that stigma and people don't know what chiropractors do. But when you have a book and you're the authority, people give you, that second chance. They give you a chance. They want to know what you're all about because they basically, what they're thinking in the back of their mind is, well, he wrote a book. He must still have a level of credibility. Let me hear what he has to say. We find that all the time.
Well, the points you're making, I think, are excellent points, and I really see the value and the benefits of what you're talking about. So let's get down to brass tacks. Take me through how totally booked practice works. What if I come to you and I say, I want to write a book, or I've got one written, but I don't know what to do?
Okay, so right, we do get those two scenarios. We even meet a lot of doctors that will tell us, I'm already writing a book, and I ask them, well, great, when'd you get started? And they say, well, I started about 5-6 years ago. And then we have a laugh, and I tell them, well, guess what? We can get this done within 60 to 90 days. And they say, really? And then we get started. But basically, again, I really would say, we're really more of a new patient, education and marketing company, not a book company. The book is the vehicle that's going to bring qualified patients to the office. And what my partner Gary and I have done is we've created a book called The 28 Ways to Boost New Patient Volume Using Your Own Book. And what we stress and what we do is we actually make sure that we set up appointments and times and actually teach and coach our clients on utilizing those 28 ways or the ones that they resonate with the most based upon who their ideal patient is and what they really want to, the way they want to practice and who they want to treat. But we come up with strategies on how they're going to attract the right patients into their office using their book. So in terms of the steps and what happens is, being in chiropractic for so many years, we've actually created a library of topics on all topics of chiropractic, in terms of chiropractic philosophy, all kinds of techniques, including, diversified and even things like, decompression, different types of instruments, laser therapy, you name it, we have the topics. I have to stress that the books are not, because people get confused with this sometimes, the books is not a template. The books are personalized. It's our clients, your personal, it's your thoughts, your ideas, your philosophies. Basically, it's your book. And I have to explain to people all the time that when you go to the bookstore like Barnes & Noble and you see these books written by celebrities and professionals and politicians, they always have a co-author. And that's to be expected. And the same thing with what we do. Our patients understand that we're really busy doctors. And, they appreciate the fact that, of course, we're going to have some help writing our books because, I laugh sometimes when, we'll have somebody that may want to do a program, but they say, well, I really didn't write this myself. And I tell them, well, 90% of the books that you see in the bookstore weren't written, strictly by that person, but it's their information. We help the process. That's how books are done today. So basically, we have a library of topics, and our clients will choose the top topics that they're interested in. And the way that we help them with this is we say, who's your ideal patient? Who do you want to attract into your office? Where are they? How do you want to communicate to them? And we guide them along. So they'll pick the top topics. So let's say we have a chiropractor that's very philosophically, oriented, and they have high volume cash practice. Well, they're going to choose certain topics that they're interested in versus a chiropractor that's involved more with personal injury, let's say. But we have something for everybody. And once they choose those topics, what we do is we have one of our staff members get on the phone and actually interview the doctors, ask them questions about those topics. Just like, we're talking today, how'd they get involved in chiropractic? Tell us about your practice. How'd you get involved with this technique? And they expand upon all these topics. So from those interviews, what we do is we start to, write the book with the doctor, and the doctors can get as involved or not as involved really as they like. Some of our clients, are involved with every single word, and other ones, trust us to take their words and put it down in paper. What we do next is we edit all the work, and we proofread, we format, we design, we even ISBN code, every book, and then we print, publish, and deliver the books to our clients. Before the books are delivered to the clients, we get on the phone, and we have the strategy and marketing conversation, because we don't want them to get all these books and then have the books sit in their office and not do anything with them. Because what we find is that for every 7 to 10 books that our clients, our chiropractors get out there into the community, they generate a brand new patient. So there is a huge incentive for them and their staff to get these books out into the community and teach people about the value of chiropractic. And we go over all of the strategies with them, and then we keep them accountable to that. We want to make sure that they're successful. And we have some doctors that are just killing it with this program and have built huge, substantial practices with our program.
So just to be clear, these are not PDF eBooks or something on a Kindle. This is a physical book, right?
Right. This is a physical book. Now, we do get requests to, make an ebook for the clients, and we'll do that. But it's not as impactful. I always say, some of the people that receive the books are going to read them. Some are going to read maybe a chapter or two. Some may not read them at all. But the impact is going to be the same. The impact is, wow, my doctor has a book, and I need to see the best. I need to see the expert, and that's what it does for you. A physical book is so much more powerful than a PDF. For the reason, that I'm going to tell you right now. I mean, have you or any of the audience just think, have you ever thrown a business card away? Or has anybody ever thrown a brochure away or a flyer? And I'm sure everyone says yes. But now think about it. How many people listening have ever thrown a book away? And I always ask this when we give a presentation or seminar, maybe one hand goes up. Because there's just, it just seems sacrilegious. There's some stigma to throw a book away. So even if it's a book you're not interested in, it's going to be on the bookshelf. It's going to be on the coffee table. It's going to be somewhere that it's not going to get thrown away. And I like to call it passive perpetual promotion. Because what happens with the books, because they don't get thrown away, is our doctors, including myself, will see new patients coming to the office from books that were actually given out 6 months ago, a year ago, or 2 years ago. Because when that person or somebody that person knows perceives or has a need for our services, we're the number one choice. It's like, I have this book, this doctor gave it to me, or the staff member gave it to me, or I went to a book signing. This is the one I'm going to go to, because he's obviously the best in town because he wrote the book. And that's how it works.
Well, what a great differentiation tool, and like you said, a great way to stand out from, everyone else who maybe isn't pushing themselves into that upper echelon. I can tell you, I've got a couple of friends who have put out books. One of them put one out, I want to say 5 years ago, before, I think people realized it was a little bit easier than maybe it is now. But, she began getting booked at corporate talks in other states, and they would fly her out, and she'd talk about corporate wellness. I mean, it opened doors for her within months of coming out.
Right. Having a book, again, the perception of who you are and what type of doctor you are, it goes through the roof. Because you just stand out from everybody else. You're perceived as special. I was just watching a news program, and the commentator, is always touting, his new book that comes out. And I see the new book, and then I see the co-author underneath it, and I know exactly how he put it together because this is what we're doing. But again, everyone's impressed. So people impressed that you've put a book out. And what's beautiful about this is it is your thoughts and your ideas and your philosophy. It's all about you and what you're all about. But we figured out an easy system on how to get it done, because we know that most chiropractors are just so busy working in their practices and the day-to-day, the patients, the administration, all of the the issues that come up in a day. It's exhausting, and there's no time. So it's almost impossible for the average chiropractor to actually do it themselves. You just can't do it. So we take that burden and we get it done. But like I said earlier, there's a much bigger passion and purpose to this. Thousands of chiropractors with their books, getting it into their communities. I mean, just think about the impact. How many kids are now maybe not going to have tubes in the ears because they went to the chiropractor first with the ear infection? Or how many people are going to avoid, dangerous back surgery because they received, a book from somebody that received that book 6 months ago, and then they went for chiropractic care, and now they didn't go for back surgery. So, we really feel like, there's a much bigger piece here. There's a much bigger mission, to what we're doing, and we want to get more and more chiropractors, with their own books. In terms of financial success for a chiropractor, it's very large. One of our best clients went from a practice that was collecting $60,000 per month, so it was a good practice, to collecting over $6 million a year. And he touts the fact that once he got his book done and he got, on the radio and on the TV and started getting a lot of referrals from professionals, that his practice just went through the roof. He reorders with us all the time. And we know that our doctors are calling us. They need more books. They need more books. They need more books. We know they're extremely successful. And the doctors that we don't hear from, we know they're not using the program. So the whole key is to get your books out there in the community, and your practice will grow. The doctor that I was just talking about that is super successful with this, he tells us that one book that he gets out there typically gets him 2 to 3 new patient referrals. And I'll tell you, I don't know how he does that myself, because that's not typical. I'm amazed at how, but he is just so enthusiastic about it. But what we find is that for each book, or typically a new patient will come after about 7 to 10 books are handed out there, whether it's to internally, and we teach this in the 28 ways to boost new patient volume using your own book. We teach the strategies. So we teach internal strategies, external strategies, and digital strategies, and help our doctors choose, which strategies they're going to use and which staff members that they're going to designate to help with this program, and how to do it and how to be successful with it.
Well, I've got a couple of questions on the specifics of the book itself. Are these hardback or soft cover?
Typically soft cover. We find that there's really not a big difference in impact, because that's really all it's about, right? It's about perception, and the product is what you perceive it to be, marketing 101. So just the fact that you have a book is enough, because the costs of printing hardcover books is a lot more expensive. If our clients want hardcover books, we'll do it, and we have some great books that we put out in hardcover, but I don't think they're getting that really any difference in terms of what they really want. The return on the investment is they just want to get new patients, help more people, grow their practices, have more time, have more freedom, enjoy their lives more. Hardcover, softcover, it really doesn't matter.
So do you find that your clients are selling the books, or are they giving them out?
Okay, we teach our clients to get the books out there, not sell the books. You can sell the books because we do ISBN code the book. We even show you how to get on Amazon and the different sites. And we do that primarily because, from a perceptive standpoint, again, it legitimizes what you're doing. You have a book that's out there to sell. I've sold my books on Amazon. I don't know who has bought them. I'm not really promoting it. But we do ISBN code the books so they can be sold. But here's the rub, okay? Let's say the book is listed at $19.95, okay? And you sell 10 books. you're going to make $200, correct?
Yep.
But let's say you gave 10 books away, and the national average case value of a patient in this country right now, given the doctors that practice cash, given the doctors that do a lot of personal injury, and given the doctors that do functional medicine, really, which is probably the highest case value, but let's say the national average is $2,500. So I would give out 7 to 10 books all day long to get back a return of $2,500, then sell 10 books to make $200.
Yeah, I see the strategy in that for sure.
Right, again, because we're not teaching the doctors to become New York Times bestsellers. If they're looking for that, we're the wrong company to go to. What we want to do is, again, make you the most well-known, well-respected, go-to chiropractic authority in your town, and that's what we can do for you.
So what's the average page count in the book?
Average books are anywhere from 120 to 150 pages.
Okay.
It's a substantial book, just like any book that you pick up at the bookstore.
Well, let's see. I got one other question here related to just the specifics and I guess the technical side of things. Minimum order. Is it on demand or is there a certain minimum order you're going to get?
No. Okay. So we have a number of books, and it's either a 500 book program, a 1,000 book program, or a 1,500 book program. I like to call it the 50 new patient program, 100 new patient program, and 150 new patient program. Because, like I said earlier, if it takes you 7 to 10, and I think a lot of guys exaggerate. So let's say it takes 10 books. So the 500 book program should bring in 50 new patients. Okay? And all you have to do is take that 50 new patients and multiply that by 2,500, and that should bring you in $125,000 worth of income. And think about how you're impacting those 50 new patients and their families also. And those 50 new patients are also going to get you referrals. So from a ROI standpoint, marketing standpoint, there's nothing, in my mind, better out there. The return on investment is unbelievable.
Well, let's get to that next question, which is, what is that investment? What's it going to cost me to use your services and to make this something we want to do?
Sure. Okay. Well, when doctors reorder with us, obviously the pricing is a lot less expensive because we don't have to make any changes. But we do tell the doctors that the book is really, look at it as an evolving, living, breathing document. Where, let's say you start getting involved with something new, like neuropathy or something like that. So when you reorder, we can put a new chapter in there. We can change the cover, put a big starburst on there. Now with new chapter on neuropathy. It's something that can keep on evolving. So the key is to just, work with us and get it done as quick as possible and get it out there and start using it. It doesn't have to be perfect right away. You can keep on working on it. So the reorder pricing is obviously the least expensive because when we first work with you on the book, there's a lot of work we have to do up front. Like I said, we have to do the interviews, the editing, the proofreading, the formatting, cover design, ISBN coding, publishing, and printing. So, there's a lot. But we've been told by a bunch of industry experts, actually one whispering in my ear recently at one of the big shows, that our pricing was too low. And I thought it was kind of funny, but I said, you know what? I said, we're chiropractors ourselves, and we want to, provide, our fellow chiropractors with something of great value, and we're not going to, we don't feel the need to be higher. But basically, he thought we were about he thought we should have been about 3 times as high as we currently are. So we also make it very easy for the doctors to get involved with the program because for each of those levels, the 500, 1,000, and 1,500 book program, we offer a one-time discounted payment, we offer a 12-month payment, and a 36-month payment. Okay, so, there's a lot of numbers here. I don't know if you want to go over all the numbers, but I can tell you that the 500 book program, you can get started in that program for as low as $232 a month. Okay, So if you want to do it monthly and break it out, it'll be $232 a month. You're getting a ton of new patients, way before we even get paid on this program, and we take all the risk. Okay, so our doctors, they may even reorder in 6 months, 4 months, but they get to utilize the book. They get to build their practices way before we even get paid, but we put all the money up front.
So I want to make sure I'm getting that right. It's $232 a month over a 36-month period?
That's if they want to break it out, okay? So
Gotcha.
for the 500-book program, okay, it's typically $69.97, one-time discounted payment.
Okay.
And, again, we do all that upfront work to get this put together, and we like to get the books done within 60 to 90 days.
Wow.
Okay, so it's that quick. It's not a 6-month, a year process. We want our doctors to be successful quickly. So we work and we get it together fast. So it's either $69.97 one-time discounted payment, or $622 a month for 12 months, or $232 a month for 36 months. As the doctors get into higher quantities of books, the pricing reflects that, and the value is even greater. So, for instance, for 1,000 books, it's $89.97 one-time discounted, or $7.99 a month for 12 months, or just $2.99 a month for 36 months. So they're getting 500 more books just for $60-something more on the 36-month deal. And then for 1,500 books, it's $99.97, $888 a month for 12 months, or $332 a month for 36 months. So for $100 more in a 36-month deal, they're getting 1,000 more books. Not 1,000 more books, but they're getting 100 more new patients. Okay, so 100 more new patients, times obviously the 2,500, $250,000 worth of collections.
Yeah, and I want to just stop real quick and just make the point in that if some of the listeners out there don't know what's involved in making a book, I mean, I've looked into it, and I had a patient who actually was an editor, and she was talking about how much work does go in up front into putting the book together, and that they get a lot of they receive manuscripts that the author thinks are great, but really there's a whole lot in terms of proofreading and time that goes into books to make them readable. And she said you just have no idea. And then if you've ever tried to self-publish, you go look at the options. You want 50-pound paper? Do you want a gloss cover? Do you want a cloth cover? It's almost mind-numbing, the options if you were to try to navigate through that yourself. You could, but I think it's going to take a lot longer than the 90 days you guys offer.
Well, like I said, we meet doctors all the time and tell us, we're doing it and we're happy, and it's taking us 4 years, 5 years.
Right.
What is that value of time?
Right.
So when we look at other companies that are involved in publishing, they're at least, we see them 3 or 4 times higher than we are for what we do. And not only that, what's the value of the strategy and coaching that's involved? You see, we have unlimited inbound calls that we'll take to help our doctors be successful. So if a doctor calls, and they say, I want to set up a call because I have an event coming up, and I want the best strategies on really how to handle the book signing and how we should do this and who should help me, and we discuss that. We discuss all the strategies on how to utilize the book to get more new patients. If a doctor's struggling a little bit, we'll go over, and tweak what they're doing. So, it's not like they get the books and then we're on to the next. Our doctors have unlimited access to get the help and the strategies. Both Gary and I have business backgrounds and consulting backgrounds. So, we really, put that extra effort out there to really ensure that the doctors are successful. All a publishing company does is they'll help you get your book done, and if you want other services, they're going to charge you for that. We don't charge extra for any of the coaching and strategy that's involved.
Yeah, and I think really executing it is where it's at. Like anything, it's not enough that you wrote the book if it's sitting in a box in your closet. You've got to have it out there and know how to implement this valuable tool that you have.
Right. And there's simple things to do. we teach, right away, just go get a little easel at, the local craft shop, the Michael's craft shop, put a copy of that book right in your reception area when a patient walks in, they see right away, oh, I'm in the right place. This doctor, wrote the book on chiropractic. We teach to, how to have your staff hand the book out to every new patient. We don't want the doctor handing it out. That's too much self-promotion. But the staff's going to hand it out, and then we teach them what to say, and how to tell the patient that you're the man, you're or a woman, you're the chiropractor to go to. You're the best in town, and to the point where that patient's going to get so excited. They're going to ask, will he sign it for me? Does he have time to sign the book for me? So the doctors are signing the books. Welcome to our practice. Here's to your wellness. Let's get you healthy. We teach the staff how to give a second copy to the patient on subsequent visits, and tell the patient, Shirley, you're doing great here, and we know that there's friends and family members out there that are suffering with the same headaches that you are suffering from. Why don't you give them a copy of the book? And a really interesting phenomenon happens all the time. See it all the time. When a book is handed to a patient, many times they're just really impressed, and they're like, wow, I wrote the book, but then they'll give it back to the staff member, and the staff member gives it back to them, and it kind of goes back and forth a little bit. And what happens is that the patient, looks at the book as, this is something of value. It says 1995 on there, so they can't believe that you're actually giving them a copy of the book. And once you give them the book that has this perceived and inherent value, then they will ask you, can you sign it for me? So it has that effect. We call it the celebrity effect. And if you don't mind, I can give you a little story that happened with this. But
yeah, please do.
I was at a local Starbucks, and I was standing in line. It was a very busy Starbucks, during lunchtime, and I was waiting, online to get my cappuccino, and I was just minding my own business. And I heard from behind the counter, the barista yell. She said, "Hey, Dr. Rob, Dr. Hanopole." And I looked, and it was one of those really awkward, uncomfortable moments because she recognized me, and I did not recognize her. Mm-hmm. And I was like really trying to think hard. I was like, was she a patient of mine in the past? Does she know one of my kids? Like, who is this person? I felt like I should. And then she said, and she saved me because she says, "Oh, you don't know me, but how come I don't have a copy of your book?" And I said, wow, that was one of those, moments of an epiphany. It was like, this is powerful. She knows me. I didn't know her. She asked for a copy of my book. Well, there it is. That's the celebrity effect in action. So what happened was 3 new patients just from that experience. Because people in line said, what kind of doctor are you? What do you do? And then we discussed, and I'm a chiropractor, and, one person had headaches, neck pain, back pain. 3 new patients just from that Starbucks experience. Wow. And that's the kind of thing that happens all the time. Local restaurants, the person sees that you're a chiropractor, and they'll say, hey, do you have a card for me? And what I teach our doctors to say is, well, geez, I don't have any cards on me right now, but then reach into your bag and say, you know what, I have a copy of a book I wrote recently. Would you like a copy? And they say, really? Like, I can have that? Sure. And the next thing that they'll tell you is, well, could you sign it for me? And there you go. So, we actually teach the doctors to get rid of your business cards. Business cards are not necessary. Your book is your new business card because it's 1,000 times more powerful than a business card. It is a business card on steroids. Yeah. And there is no need to have business cards anymore. You keep a carton of books in the trunk of your car.
Well, I'm going to shift away from the book for a bit. I want to come back to you later and ask you how people can find out more. But for now, let's talk about a little bit just about success in general. You've obviously had a lot of success over your career, not only with your practice, but now getting into the publishing business. But we learn a lot from our successes. We tend to learn more from our failures. Is there anything, or not even necessarily a failure, but an obstacle, something you've overcome? So is there something you could share with us and some of the lessons you learned?
Well, I think 100 chiropractors within a 1-mile radius of the office is a real challenge.
Yeah.
and, developing a way to differentiate and distinguish and promote successfully, has really been the way to overcome. So, you really have to step outside the box, and think different, and stand out, and really, really step into the uncomfortable zone. Because growth can only come when you get uncomfortable. And I think too many, chiropractors, are a little bit, afraid, to step out of the comfort zone. A little bit afraid to say, well, too many people are going to know, what I do and who I am, but you have to be able to do that in order to be successful. So, that's what we talk a lot of, with our doctors, because, in order to be a success, you got to put yourself out there, and you have to have thick skin, and you can't really care, what other people say, because most people, when you become successful, they become jealous. So you really got to get out there, and one book, when we're talking about books, that really I thought was great at teaching a lot of these things was from Dan Drubin. I don't know if you're familiar with it or not, but
no.
It's called Busting Your Rut. And that book really had a profound impact on me because the main theme of the book was pain. And what Dan would say was, he'd say, look, you're either in the pain or you're in the pain. And which pain do you prefer? And what he meant by that was, you're either in the pain of complacency and just kind of dealing with things and complaining about things and just kind of being average, or you're going to get into the pain of growth and the pain that comes along with being successful. And the question is, which pain do you prefer? Do you prefer the pain of complacency, or do you prefer the pain of growth? So I prefer the pain of growth, and that's what we teach.
Wow, I haven't heard that before, but I really like that. I love that message, because I guess there is nothing in life that's just all roses, and I think maybe if we're in our little comfort zone, it feels good, and we think that other people who maybe have more than us haven't made, but there's a guy. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, there's
people that are successful. They're always working hard. They're always working on their craft. I mean, you've heard the expression. When you're coasting, you can only coast downhill.
Yeah.
You can't coast uphill. You got to keep on working at it. You got to keep on honing in on your craft. You got to keep on getting better every single day.
Yeah, there's one of the guys on Shark Tank. His name is Robert Herjavec, and he's a millionaire.
Sure.
Does very well. He went through a divorce a couple of years ago and got into a deep depression and contemplated suicide. And I think for a lot of us, we look at this guy who's on TV. He's got money. He's got success. He could afford the world's best therapist. He's obviously empowered himself to bring himself to great heights. And yet he was at the point where he was actually really considering suicide. And, I think there is a whole lot of, like you said, it's pain on both sides. It's not a perfect world, but like you, I would much rather be in the pain of being successful and reaching higher.
Right. I mean, there's a lot of gratification that comes along with that too. But again, you have to be willing to put yourself out there. You got to be willing to really, they say, to get uncomfortable, to feel the fear, right, and do it anyway. That's really what it comes down to. Because then, other than that, then you're just going to keep on getting, the people that say, well, I know I should do this, and I should do that, and I should have done this. And, as Tony Robbins says, these people, they shit all over themselves. So the key is to just do it, like the Nike commercials. And we find that a lot of our clients, they need a little bit of this kick. Otherwise, they're complaining. And we, really try to help the clients, get into that area of growth and pushing them into that little bit of discomfort. But we have ways to do that. There's all different formulas. And I even teach the clients, you should be doing this with your patients. You should be empowering your patients and trying to help your patients live, better lives and thrive and succeed. We do this all the time. And what happens is, those patients become so happy with the way that you're affecting them, that they want to refer you, more people. You're changing lives. So, you're not always, just adjusting the subluxation and the spine, but you got to adjust the subluxation between their ears.
Yeah.
So this program that we have is really, to grow the chiropractic practice, is to grow the chiropractor, is to grow chiropractic, as a whole globally. There's a lot that we want to accomplish.
Well, Doc, let me ask you this. Who are your heroes?
I have one hero, and unfortunately he's no longer with us. But that was my father, and he passed away a little over a year ago. But he really embodied really everything. I'd say a bit or a piece of all the different people out there that we all look up to. A great athlete, really a Renaissance man, artist, had entrepreneurial skills, very creative, musician. You name it, he had it. And what I did actually was we recently developed a new book, which is more almost like a chicken soup for the soul book, a collaborative effort, which is what we call the Hearts and Minds of America's Leading Chiropractors. And again, anyone on the line today, if they want to get into a book really, their first book really quick and easy, all we need is one chapter, and we'll get you in that book. At least you can get the benefits of being an author while you're working on, your personal book. But I actually put him, my father, on the back of the book, while he was running in a race, a picture of him, and dedicated, that book to him. And again, that's what's so nice about having these books, because now I know that everybody that I'm giving this book to gets to learn a little bit about, like you said, like who influenced me and my hero. And all of our clients, we encourage them to, do the acknowledgments, acknowledge the family, acknowledge the people that helped you get to where you are, and do the dedications. It's a very cathartic, feel-good experience.
Yeah, what a great way to honor your dad.
Yeah. I encourage other people to do that, with family members, husbands, wives. I mean, what we do as chiropractors, we did not choose the easy route. We did choose the painful route, in many ways, because, it's not, we're not the traditional way of doing things. So it really is important because, our spouses and our families, they hear the frustrations and they hear the things that we go through on a daily basis. Practicing, every day, there's a lot of obstacles that you go through. So I really think it's important to, show some gratification and gratitude and acknowledge the people in your life that are helping you to succeed and helping you, on your mission to teach the world about chiropractic and help, more people with chiropractic. Because like I said, this wasn't the easy path. I really think the easy path would have been to go to medical school. But you can't do something that you don't resonate with. So chiropractic, for many chiropractors, including myself, is really more of a mission. And, being on that mission is not always easy. So and it affects everyone else in your life. So you have to acknowledge them. And it makes them feel really good when you do that, especially when it's in a book.
Well, what's the best way for people to contact you and find out more, not only about Totally Booked Practice, but about you and what you do?
Well, they can always go to the website, which is totallybookedpractice.com. They can call us at 888-243-2661. And I can be reached on my cell phone at 954-296-8473. I try to be as available as possible to speak to, people that are interested in building their practices and utilizing, a book to do so. And I do want to mention that if anybody calls and they mention this podcast, we will give a special offer.
Oh, that's great. Well, we are going to link to all of those, plus the book you talked about that you recommended people check out as well in our show notes page at www.chirobusinessmojo.com. Dr. Rob Hanopole, I can't thank you enough for taking time out of your busy schedule to come share some wisdom and some information about your book service with our listeners.
Well, I appreciate you having me on the line, and, really will do anything to help our profession because we are in the most amazing, influential professions, on the planet. We have to get the word out there.
Thanks for listening to the Chiro Business Mojo podcast at www.chirobusinessmojo.com.